Okay, it's several hours later, and I'm back, guys. This was not what I expected, and it didn't turn out like I expected, and it didn't really turn out like Louisa's. So, this is what I've done, though. Alright, I have all of these done and ready to go, but they're still wet. Okay, they're still wet. And I need to do a little bit more on this one because I just didn't get as much junk grunge in this first one as I wanted to. But I am going to, when I finish, I'll go back and I'll put a little bit more on here. But I'm going to show you how I did it. And it is different. So let me get this opened up because, like I said, they're still wet. So I am going to lay them out. And I'm going to let them dry overnight because I think they need some drying time. Now this one is a little more grungy, a little more yucky stuff in it. I got a little braver, tried a few extra things, and so I have all of this one ready to go, but like I said, it's still wet. This is the third one, so I'm good. But you can see we've got some wonderful stuff on the edges. But I'm going to show you how that happened. So let me put this one back here as well. This is the second one. And I didn't even fold it up yet. I thought this one is still just a little bit too wet. But you can see it's getting a little grungier and a little grungier each time. So, but this one is finished. There are 14 pages in each signature. So, but I'm going to leave these out somewhere. And I started on the last one. This is the first signature. And I wanted it to be first because I wanted this little dragon, this little butterfly here. And this one was on the outside edge. And when I hammered, and it got some pretty good damage to it. So I like that one. But these are all still extremely wet. And so what I thought I'd do, because it does take so long, I pulled these center 6 pages out. And I'm going to show you how some of the techniques that I used on those without you having to sit through 14 pages times 3. We would be here till next year. So this is what we're going to do. So I'm going to start at the back because this is the page. I'm working from the front to the back in this little section here. So this is our page. So this one has a little bit. You see that it has just a little bit on here. This is one of the shorter pages, so it didn't get much of the damage on the edge. So what I did is I went and got my Distress Oxide sprays. I got some Distress Mica stains. I got some of my Oliver Color Bursts. I've used my ink pads. And I have used some stencils. And you can tell I've made a mess. Oh, excuse me. I went to eat supper a while ago. I had to, and when I made the cornbread, came back in here and piddled a little bit. Then I went back in there. And when I sat down at the table with my family, my mom, who is here with us, said, "Oh my gosh, why are your hands so green?" I went, "Well, I've been dyeing paper." And she was like, "Oh my goodness." So anyway, it'll wear off. It'll wear off. I kind of wear it as a badge of honor. So on this one, we have not done but one, I think, in this series of, well, I don't know if I've done any. Maybe that one. But I'm going to show you something really cool in a minute. But for this one, I'm just going to lay a stencil on here. I'm going to get my Forest Moss paper and my little dauber do here. And I'm just going to run some of this on here. I'm not being real efficient. I'm not being real careful. y'all know how I am about white paper in the background. It just does not jihad with me. And so I'm putting this on here mainly just to cover up and give me some color. I don't really care about the design. I'm going to cover it up with my tags and pockets and all of that stuff when I get it in there. So I just want some color so that paper is not just going at me. I'm going to turn this one over. I'm not going to worry about necessarily inking this one. This one has, this stencil has some leaves on it. And I needed something that was kind of, oh, got my finger caught in that one. Kind of forestry, you know, nature, plants, those kinds of things. And so I just ran through here, just putting a little bit of green, a little bit of decoration. It's already coffee dyed. So my grandson coffee dyed these papers for me when he was about 9 years old, and I've only got a few sheets of it left, so I've used it pretty sparingly. But he sprayed them with a spray bottle, and he had more fun. But anyway, so I'm using these in here, and I'm just putting some green leaves on there just for decoration, just so that it's not white. Okay, now I'm done with that. Now, I can, if I want to run it a little bit, spray a little water on here, kind of spray it up. Oh, just stuck my finger in that hole. And then I'm going to get my blow dryer and dry it just enough to make it not so wet. Just enough to kind of, I'm going to leave these to dry overnight. They need to be dry and they are still relatively wet. And when that coffee meets that water, it makes some kind of new design. So that's kind of cool too. So even though I've got the stenciling on there, some of the stencil runs because I'm using distress ink. So it runs. That's okay. I'm not concerned about the design on it. This is just my background paper that I'm going to use. I'm going to put stuff over it, cover it up. I'm not real worried about it. I did get a little bit of water in that center, and that's a little thick. But that's okay. That's okay. We're going to get it dry enough that it can go in the stack. And then we'll do the next one, and I'll show you what I do with that. This turned out, other than the fact that I used a hammer at the beginning, and I used my distress inks on the sides, this is actually nothing like Louisa's project. So Louisa, I'm sorry, I did my best, but this is what you got. This is what I got. So, all right, this is one of my printed pages, and they're all darkly printed on the inside because I wanted dark forest look. Well, you can see this is the paper, the way it came out when I took it out of doing the edges, and I did get some ink along the edges. That's cool. And I got a little bit of damage along the edges. That's cool. But it wasn't enough. Now, I use an inkjet printer. And I want you to see what this does when I wet this side. Okay? And I'm going to do it kind of at an angle here so you can really see it on the other side and see what I'm talking about. But I'm going to hold this up and I'm just going to spray lots of water on here. And let it run in these little river-like things. It's kind of hard to do and hold it up. Let me turn it around this way and do it this way and have some of the rivers running the other way. Now, I'm putting a lot of water on here, okay? Inkjet printer, remember. And I'm going to take this page here because this one's just a plain green sheet I'm going to lay it down here because I'm going to lay it on it. But look what happens on the other side when that ink starts running. And it makes some of the coolest designs on the other side of that paper, I think. Now, you may not like it. You may go, oh my God, what is she going to do with that? I think they are awesome. And it comes, this is taking some of this ink off of this side and soaking through with the water onto the other side. Now, it's not taking all of the ink. We still have a beautiful picture there. No problems. And we can turn that over. And that ink comes off on this next page. So I'm getting the benefit of that ink on here. And I'm going to turn this over and get a little bit here. Now, if any of you noticed, you may not. I wouldn't have, but when I wet these pieces of paper, all of my little edges that I hammered went back flat. So I don't have my crunchy pages anymore. So that really just put me in distress. I was very upset about that. So let me dry it a little bit, and I'll show you what I did to kind of make up for it. Like I said, this turned out to be nothing like Louisa's project. And I hope you can hear me over this heat gun, and I'm not drying them completely with the heat gun. I'm just drying them enough that I can handle them without them tearing. You see these beautiful marks coming in here as it's getting dry. And I just think those are so pretty. Now, you may not like it, and if you don't do this. Don't use an inkjet printer and put water on it, because it will run, let me tell you. But I just think, and see these lines in here, just to me, just look so pretty and make the page look so different. And I got a page a while ago. I don't know where in the world it came from, but all I put on here was green. But look, I got purple, I got pink, I got blue. All of these colors in here, all from the ink on this side of the page. So you never know. It's kind of like Forrest Gump. You never know what you're going to get. And so I've just played with them. I've had a lot of fun with it. Like I said, it is not what Louisa did, but the idea is still there. Louisa, I hope you're still proud of me. Anyway, Louisa will probably never see this anyway, so I'm not going to worry too much. But anyway, I've got this pretty dry. Not pretty dry, but I've got it where it's not soaking wet. There's edges, the paper is still wet. And then I took the sides and scrunched them up. While it's wet, don't want to wait until it dries. Scrunched them up while it's wet. Not enough that I'm tearing the paper. I'm just scrunching. And then I'm going to let those dry like that. And I've got some of my damaged sides back. And they come out like this. This is exactly what I did to every one of these pages. So, not exactly the same, but it works for me. Oh, don't fly away. And I'll put that one there. And then this one is pretty well done, I think. Let's dry it a little bit more and see what we're getting on it. It's kind of hard to tell when it's wet if it's green, or especially because the paper itself is green. But I have a little paper towel here that has some ink in it, and if I need to, I can just go right along like this and put a little bit more ink in it without adding a lot of water. We can turn it over, put a little bit more in some of those bare spots. And there we go. Almost burned that page. I forgot what I was doing here. And I'm going to let it dry naturally. And so, there we go. That's what we've got. And we may need to add some more. And if we do, that's cool. I have more to add. Now, this one, we got some really cool stuff going over here on the sides. And I think that's where that pink and purple are coming from, because I got some on here as well. All right, but on this one, I am going to use our color burst. This is Tierra Verde, and I'm just going to sprinkle some on here. And I have done a video or two where I've used these, so if you have not seen it before, looks like there's nothing on the page, but when I spray water, the magic happens. And if you don't have enough, put the water on here, spray it, sprinkle a little bit more. You can see where it kind of runs. We don't really need just a whole lot on here. I think I might have got too much. And we get these really pretty colors. Oh, we're getting some really cool pinks and stuff there. I don't know how pink is going to fit into my dark forest, but we'll make it work. And there we go. So we're just going to sop up some of the water. Get some color in here. And see, every one of those pages just lays right back out like. So that's something to keep in mind. If you have edges of the paper that are wrinkled, spray a little water on them, maybe they'll flatten back out. We'll get this dry just a little bit, and then we have another one of those solid green ones there, and I'm going to see how that one turns out. And then we will let these dry overnight, and if I can, I will come back tomorrow and we'll do a video and see what they look like, see what happens, see where we go from here. Eventually I've got to make a cover, and I've got to get the signatures in there. I've done a little bit of sewing on some of the pages that I wanted to do, but I don't know. My mom and I sat yesterday and cut out the papers that I've used are from Gypsy Craftery. She has an Etsy store, so check that out. And with it comes some ephemera. There's some tags and some journaling cards and some bookmarks and all kinds of little things like that. And so my mom and I sat yesterday. My husband was out of town, and I have to kind of need to stay around with my mom when there's no one else here. So we sat in there in the living room and cut out all of those tags and everything. So those are all ready, and I'm going to sew on a few of those and get those ready to go. And then I've got to figure out what I'm going to do for the cover. I haven't thought about it, and I've been procrastinating a little bit. Now we're going to see this side. See, we've got some pretty green in here, which I like the wood, the trees, and they're kind of scraggly and weird and scary looking, but it needed some green. And so these little red dots here kind of look like maybe, I don't know, bugs or something flying around. We can think of. All right, so that's not completely dry, but it's dry enough, so I'm going to scrunch and scrunch, and I mainly just do it on the outsides. A little bit in, but not too much. I don't worry about it too much. And then I don't try to fold them back out. I let them stay. I forgot to do that one. I hope it's not too dry. Nah, it's okay. And then we'll put this one on top. And then we have this one and this one. And these are the last 2 pages. So I'm going to use some of this green that comes off of here onto that page. So that's what we're going to do. All right, so here we go. And I'm not going to do the rivers. I just wanted y'all to see what cool effects you could get. I'm just going to lay this one down and just spray on it. And then I'm going to take this one and lay it on top, and you can already see some of that green coming in. And then really quickly, I'm going to turn it over this way and pick up some of it. This was also coffee dyed, so you're seeing some of the coffee reactivate and kind of run. And if that is not enough, you can take some of your distress, I don't want vintage photo though. How about, well, I don't want that either. How about, nope, where is, well, I don't know what I did with my peeled paint, but Forest Mall, oh, I just tore my page. I'm going to have to put some washi tape down that. And put that back together. And that's part of the thing you have to be careful with when you're using these pages like this. Oh, now I'm going to have to definitely seal this one back together because it's already coming apart. But that's okay. I'll just get some washi tape and put them back together and be able to use them. So it'll be okay. We're not going to cry. That just gives us an opportunity to use up some washi tape. So we will do that. So we've used our stencils. We've used our Oliver, what is he? Ken Oliver Color Burst sprays. We've used our Distress sprays. And we've used our ink pad. And I really got this one wet. I am so sorry. It is going to take forever and a day for this one to dry. And it's going to come right in half. So I think what we'll do is, I was going to get a little bit of my, oh, this is Crooked Broomstick. This is sort of a gold, glittery mica kind of stuff. And I'm going to just spray a little bit here on the table and put a little water with it. I don't know if you can see that, but then I'm going to take my little rag here and scoop that up and just put a little bit on here. This is very overwhelming color, and it's very shiny when it dries, so you don't want to cover it completely. But we'll leave it like that and put these on here. And I may just leave these two here to dry tonight because, like I said, I kind of got a little overzealous with the water bottle and sprayed it. But I think that it's going to be okay. And we'll put some washi right down the center and put those two halves back together, and it'll be okay. And then we'll be ready to start on whatever we need to do next. So, I think I'm going to stop. I'm going to let these dry. I'm going to leave them. I'm going to scrunch the edges, put them aside. We'll let them dry overnight. I'm going to leave them loose so the air can get to all of the pages. And then we'll come back. I'll come back tomorrow. You won't see this until next week, the next week after this one. But that's okay too. But then we'll figure out what we're going to do next with our pages. Maybe start working on our journal cover or whatever we think might need to be done next. So we'll do that. So in the meantime, check out my online store. It's at www.mypinkdragonflywingz, all one great big long giant word with the Z on the end of wings.com. See what we have in there. We've got some cool things. We've got some simple things, so check them out. And if you like the video, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. We'd love to have you in our Pink Dragonfly Creative Group. We would love you to join us. And you can have a messy day like this. This is my day. I'm turning into not a Smurf, but I don't know, a leprechaun. Anyway, it's fun. So until next time, you be creative too, and we'll see you then. Bye-bye.